Good morning and welcome to Third Unitarian Church. I am neither Jennifer nor Alan Matthews. I'm Maureen. I've been asked to keep the announcement short, but I don't usually get to work a room, so I might have to do a little more than just read the script. But we are so glad you are here with us this morning to celebrate life, grieve our sufferings, and connect with one another. We hope you find Third Unitarian Church to be a place that enriches your spirit and motivates you to action to bless the world. We will welcome all people in this church, and we welcome your whole person. Today, we did not have a forum, but next week our forums begin again at 10 a.m. The National Nurses United Chicago office will speak about the work of the National Nurses Organizing Committee. They are trying to form a national union. There are pockets of nurses unionized, particularly in Detroit area, and that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of unions in the Detroit area that don't really exist anywhere else, but this is a national movement, and some from the local chapter will be here to tell you what they're asking for, explain the changes of nurses' roles over the years, the conditions that have resulted for patients because of the conditions that the nurses work under. We have a newsletter. We started it again, so we stopped it for 2 months, January and February, as an experiment. And of all the people who complained, and the only complaint we got was our Reverend Don Wheat. So we are starting the newsletter again. So you should have gotten 2 versions. The first version was a total flop. I experimented with the design and everything, and my formatting was off. The second version that went out last night sometime is actually pretty good, I think, and there's also printed copies out at the concourse. Remember always to check that table. Just about everything that you need to know about what we're doing and what our local and national Unitarian organizations are doing are out there on the table. And next week, I told you what the forum was. Now, the next worship service is the celebration of life against all odds, resilience as a choice. Intern Minister Nordstrom will explore first being present to what is and the power of naming our lived reality as a resilience strategy. So again, welcome to Third Church. Please join us, coffee hour after the service if you are new, and may the service begin. We light this chalice, a symbol of hope, faith, freedom, and love, and connect with Unitarian Universalists in the past, present, and future.
Our opening words are by my colleague, Martha Valentin. Be still with me and enter into the crescent fold of my arms as I gather you to this time and place. Wind your thoughts like a river toward the center of who we are, this morning as one body and out among others in the world. Be still with me and enter into the celebration of resilience and resurrection. For we are all vessels eternally rising out of the water, alive, with a purpose and strength unknown to us. Be still with me and enter quietly into this place of unbound love and gratitude. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 391, Voice Still and Small.
Please remain standing in body and spirit while we read the covenant, which is printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. You may be seated unless you'd like to join us in the chancel for our story for all ages, all ages.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's see. All right, so good morning again, and I believe we have everything we need now for our story time for all ages. I brought out a beautiful quilt that each of you made in the RE program for religious education. And I saw some work that Pierce said was Douglas and Pierce. And we have a story this morning that Reverend Jackson is going to help me with kindly. Thank you so much. And the story today is An Apple for Harriet Tubman. And the theme today is about resilience, and about Harriet was resilient in her life with everything that happened to her, and how she turned her life around for the better. And there'll be some apples later, but we'll get to all of that. So let's begin. If you can't see the pictures, you feel free to look, but we keep our shoes off the beautiful work that you made. So thank you. Okay, Harriet was born into slavery around the year 1820. Her parents, Ben and Rit Ross, were enslaved on the Brodess plantation in Maryland. Because their parents were the property of Edward Brodess, Harriet and her brothers and sisters belonged to him too, the law said. The slaves had a hard life. They chopped down trees, cleared swamps, tended the tobacco fields, and did all the other jobs on the Brodess plantation. The slaves didn't get paid and had to do everything their overseers told them to do. Even children had to work. So here, this might be Harriet, and here's an overseer on his horse telling him what to do. And next page, please. When Harriet was only 7, Edward Brodess sent her to work for an unkind woman named Miss Susan. Here's Miss Susan lying in bed. One of Harriet's jobs was to sit up all night taking care of Miss Susan's baby so her crying would not wake her mother. If the baby did cry, Miss Susan would whip Harriet. Not so good. Not a good boss. Not the best boss ever. We get to the apples. Later on, Harriet worked in the fields. She liked working outdoors where she could feel the fresh breezes, see the sunshine, and watch birds fly free. Picking apples was her favorite outdoor job. Whenever she held a shiny red apple in her hand, she wished, oh how she wished, she could take a big bite out of it. She longed to know if it tasted as good as it looked. She didn't like the fact that she and the other slaves were expected to pick, wash, and polish these luscious-looking apples, but were forbidden to taste any. She didn't think it was fair that slaves did all the work and the family in the big house got to eat the apples. That makes sense, right? Each day, as Harriet picked and polished apples, she looked for the chance to crunch into one. One day, when the overseer was walking down the other end of the orchard, she thought, this is my chance. Got a basket, got an apple in her hand. Great, right? Did not go well. Just as she was biting deep into a delicious apple, the overseer whirled around and caught her. Angrily, he took his whip and lashed Harriet. The whip tore through her. It left scars that lasted the rest of her life. She couldn't fight back or do anything about it then, but she made herself a promise. One day, I am going to be free, and I'm going to have all the apples I want. So here she is making her promise to herself. One day, I'll overcome this. Years passed, and Harriet married a free man by the name of John Tubman. In 1849, she learned that she might be sold and sent away from her husband and sisters and brothers. Harriet took action. She ran away from the Brodess plantation. She was running away, I assume. She walked until she reached a safe house, a place where she knew members of the Underground Railroad would help her. The Underground Railroad was not a railroad, but a group of black and white men and women who take great risks to help people escape from slavery. So here's someone helping her. Then, through dense forests and chilly swamps, she followed the North Star towards the north and freedom. She was always on the lookout for slave hunters and their bloodhound dogs who would bring her back. Later, Harriet was hidden in a farm wagon and taken to another safe house. Finally, she reached the Delaware Bay in the state of Delaware. A boatman helped her cross to the New Jersey shore. From there, she made her way to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Here in the north, she was free. just as she had promised herself that she would be. But Harriet was not happy living in freedom while her family was still enslaved. She went to work as a maid and a cook. She saved her money and went back again and again to Maryland to free her family and leave many other people out of slavery. It always gets me choked up at this. So it was extremely dangerous for Harriet to do this. There was a huge reward for her capture. The slaveholders were very angry that she'd become an Underground Railroad conductor, guiding other slaves to freedom, but she and her passengers were never caught. In 1869, Harriet bought a house near Auburn, New York. She planted rows of apple trees along the lane that led from the road to her home. It had taken a long time, but she was finally able to keep the second part of the promise she had made to herself. She is planting all of her own apple trees on her own orchard, on her own property. Each fall, when the apples were ripe and ready for picking, Harriet Tubman had all the apples she could eat. And she invited the townspeople to come and fill their baskets. Harriet Tubman's apples were a symbol of freedom for everyone to share. So sweet. And that is the end. So thank you, Reverend Jackson. And now, if you would indulge me, I have brought an apple for each of you to have in honor of Harriet Tubman's resilience in overcoming the perhaps horrible things that happened to her and turning it around and helping everyone. And as you take an apple, I will direct your attention to the mural on the wall over here, where if you look, you can find Harriet Tubman up on the wall. She's raising her hands. She's perhaps working in the Underground Railroad to free other slaves. And if I believe the artist was trying to say there's a slave trying to escape through the bushes on our left. You can see a face trying to escape, and she is helping, perhaps, somebody else get the freedom they were looking for. So, here's an apple for you as well, Maddie, Reverend Jackson. Apple. And may you enjoy your apples and perhaps think of Harriet Tubman whenever you enjoy one in the future. So, if I can get your help for any of the children who would like to take an apple, I invite you to please take an apple for an adult who may not get one until coffee hour. So at least one apple. I will leave the rest downstairs for everyone to enjoy and think of Harriet and resilience and welcome Reverend Jackson to our coffee hour. But at least bring one apple to one kind adult here in the sanctuary, please, whether you know them or not. If you're allergic to apples, wave them away. If you're not part of the brat diet or anything else, and you don't want an apple, just say, oh, no apple, or thank you, but pass it to a friend later. So, thank you so much for being part of our Time for All Ages. And I will ask Douglas to help me take this beautiful quilt to the RE space. It's okay. Thank you. It can still be a gift of love, even if it's dropped. Thank you all so much. Enjoy your morning. Thank you, Reverend Jackson.
Please join me in the spirit of meditation and prayer. Spirit of love and light that joins us all, that connects us from one to another, heart to heart, soul to soul. We come into this space from many places, feeling many things. And we pray that in this space can be a respite from those things that are troubling us, the sorrows that we share. And that this place can be a container for the joys that we are having in our lives, that we can share them with one another. We recognize that life is a cycle. There are good days and bad days, days of joy, days of sadness, days of frustration, days of celebration. We ask for the strength to get through it all, to move from day to day, to know that we are not alone, that we have support, to know that our community is there for us when we need, and that we will be available when someone in our community needs us. We ask for the continued strength and the blessings of love to move through us and to stand around us. And we ask these things in the name of the love and light that holds us together. Blessed be. Amen. Our reading this morning is The Negro Mother by Langston Hughes. Children, I come back today to tell you a story of the long, dark way that I had to climb, that I had to know in order that the race might live and grow. Look at my face, dark as the night, yet shining like the sun with love's true light. I am the dark girl who crossed the Red Sea, carrying in my body the seed of the free. I am the woman who worked in the field, bringing the cotton and the corn to yield. I am the one who labored as the slave, beaten and mistreated for the work that I gave. Children sold away from me, husbands sold too, no safety, no love, no respect was I due. 300 years in the deepest South, but God put a song and a prayer in my mouth. God put a dream like steel in my soul. Now, through my children, I'm reaching the goal. Now, through my children, young and free, I realize the blessing deed to me. I couldn't read then, couldn't write either. I had nothing back there in the night. Sometimes the valley was filled with tears, but I kept trudging on through the lonely years. Sometimes the road was hot with the sun, but I had to keep on till my work was done. I had to keep on, no stopping for me. I was the seed of the coming free. I nourished a dream that nothing could smother. Deep in my breast, the Negro mother. I had only hope then, but now, through you, dark ones of today, my dreams must come true. All you dark children in the world out there, remember my sweat, my pain, my despair. Remember my years heavy with sorrow, and make of those years a torch for tomorrow. Make of my past a road to the light, out of the darkness, the ignorance, the night. Lift high my banner out of the dust. Stand like freemen supporting my trust. Believe in the right, let none push you back. Remember the whip and the slaver's track. Remember how the strong in struggle and strife still bar your way and deny you life. But march ever forward, breaking down bars. Look ever upward at the sun and the stars. Oh, my dark children, may my dreams and my prayers impel you forever up the great stairs. For I will be with you till no white brother dares keep down the children of the Negro mother.
Our words of offering are by Sunshine Wolf. We give not so that we keep the lights on, but rather because having the lights on means we can be together. We give not so that we can have the heat on, but rather because we recognize not all of us have heat. We give not to pay the minister or staff, but because having a minister and staff to challenge and encourage us transforms our lives. We give not because we are obligated to, but because through our giving, this community offers us meaning and support. We give not because it makes the church possible. We give because the church helps to make all of us together possible. This morning's offering will be gratefully received. May it be joyfully given. Will the ushers please come forward?
Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in the responsive reading, number 519. Let me not pray to be sheltered from dangers. Let me not beg for the stillness of my pain. Let me not look for allies in life's battlefield. Let me not crave in anxious fear to be saved. Grant me that I may not be a coward, feeling your mercy in my success alone.
But let me find the grasp of your hand in my failure.
Please remain standing in body or in spirit and join us in our next hymn, number 1015, I Know I Can, which is found in your order of worship.